Hello, film friends, friends of film, and everyone in between. Welcome to the Film Folklore Podcast. I am Jed Props, and I am joined today by Zoe Props.
Hello.
And Justin Sound.
Hello.
I took the adjective out.
Nice. Thank you so much.
It's an adjective.
It's
You know what, Jed? You're amazing. Thank you.
Hey, you can't use the ones I've used. But Chris and Joe are not with us today. Joe just Facebook checked in at Chichen Itza with Carry Me Back. Zoe, where is Chris?
So you know those big giant holes in New Orleans in the streets?
Oh, yeah, the one that swallowed half a car just this week.
Yeah, there's all those holes, and they fill up with water, and you see people bathing in them, hanging out, drinking a beer.
Yeah, only in New Orleans.
That's what Chris is doing.
Oh,
he's taking a relaxing, hot.
He's having a hobo sauna, right?
Yeah,
Hot spring.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, a bit of a warm spring.
All right.
So yeah. He needed a day. He needed a day off to hang by the pool.
Yeah.
But
pop a couple cold ones. Yep. Say hi to the traffic as it passes you by.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be the award-winning PBR.
Yeah.
I mean, they won awards.
Mm-hmm.
They got that ribbon. That's the award that they got.
They did.
At that time in that year. That is still their award.
I thought they won every year.
I guess they do if it's their own award. I've never understood it. But I also love PBR and would have no problems with them sponsoring us. So
rules.
Delicious. Anyway, Happy New Year. It's a new year, new us, maybe. I don't know. Do y'all remember way back, to our first episode where I mentioned a standard format?
No.
Well, it's good because I'm hoping everyone does forget because how quickly things change. But I do want to update you, the listeners, because there are some things you will have already noticed. We will, of course, be continuing interviews, and we have an interview for you today, in fact. But we have reoccurring segments now. Legendary lore, continuing strike coverage, another Rust update once new charges get filed, rumors, urban legends, and some tea spilling on occasion, and more. That wonderful generic more. Was it wax lips, the candy of 1,000 uses? So anyway, we are hard at work getting our website up and our socials running right for y'all, and we're very excited for what is coming down the pipeline for you. That's right, you, the listener. We are very close to launching our new improved fun, and Zoe will tell y'all a little more about it at the end of the show. But I did want to give that little announcement. So anyway, enough about that. Moving on. So, Justin and Zoe, if I asked you what department is equally as important as camera, but with a fraction of the clout, who would you name?
Props. No.
We're an afterthought. What are you talking about? And a giant hit. Justin has a big smile on his face because I think he knows. Who would that be, Justin?
Equally as important as camera. I was thinking more important.
I mean, we're all as important as camera. Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
But there is a very particular
sound.
department, sound, that gets, we all get to witness it on set. And I think the most common thing that you see is if a camera operator or a DP says, I need another take, then the director says, okay, we go again. If a sound mixer says, I need another take, sometimes it's fine. Sometimes they oblige. But I have plenty of times seen eye rolling, like, ugh, fine. Well, it was perfect for the DP, but I guess we got to do another one for sound.
Everyone's going to put on subtitles anyway.
Yeah. Because we're making weird foreign films here. But yeah, it's always as a observer to it, I've always thought like, hey, that's a little unfair. Like the mixer should have just as much say so as the DP and everything. But
absolutely, I agree. Anytime I've watched a movie and the sound is off, I can't watch a movie.
Yeah,
I can't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I for one really enjoy sound in a movie.
Yeah, it turns out, love hearing stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hearing what the actors are saying. Sometimes hearing what the actors say is more interesting than what they're doing. to be honest. I mean, there's a whole movie called Glengarry Glen Ross that's pretty much all dialogue. So don't really care what they're doing. It's because it's mostly dialogue.
Yeah, every Quentin Tarantino movie ever. A lot of talking.
Lots of talking. Lots of jibba jabba. Justin, would you say that's a fair assessment? Or am I being too harsh?
No, I say that's a very fair assessment.
How many times has that happened to you? The sound part of someone griping about not wanting to go again because sound needs to go.
It literally just happened the other day, about a week ago.
First time or?
Oh no.
Often enough. This is the most recent.
No. Definitely, it happens very often. The production sound mixer kind of has to be the judge of how something sounds on the recording. The directors, the producers, nobody's going to hear that accurately compared to the sound mixer, and so they do have to trust the sound mixer to give them that knowledge. Some directors are a lot more appreciative of that, and some are not, and they just are confident that they can get things done just as well in post. And so that's kind of the struggle that we deal with a lot. Yeah.
Sound struggles.
Sounds struggles. Sounds good. Sound struggles. Well, let's get into it because we have a sound guest today. Our first sound guest that is not Justin. We have Donovan Sound. So let's welcome Donovan. Donovan, welcome.
Welcome, Donovan.
Hi, Donovan.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. So we're going to ask you the obvious question that we all know the answer to, but you are a boom operator specifically, yes?
I am.
And for anyone listening that may or may not know what a boom operator is, even though it's one of the most iconic positions in the industry, what would be a brief just a visual description to clue them in?
So aside from everybody knows the guy who's going to hold the big fuzzy microphone above the actors, yes, but there's more to it. I'm second in command in the sound department behind the production sound mixer, who's the department head, and pretty much relaying information. I am on set all the time. Have to pay attention to all the details about what's going to happen, what's going on, who's speaking when. And relay all that information to the sound mixer, and anything he has sound notes wise that needs to go to, an AD or director or someone. I'm usually facilitating a lot of those notes as well. So kind of that. And then also microphone placement around the sets. We use a lot of plant microphones, which are just microphones we're hiding all over the set to either pick up a line of dialogue that can't be grabbed on something, or my microphone, or, their lavalier mic for some reason, or for sound effects, for different effects, any situation where this effect work, like cars passing by, just because we see it in the picture, we might accentuate it by putting a microphone somewhere over there to get that sort of thing.
That's you just brought up something kind of interesting. In our very first episode, we talked a little bit about our radio channels, and no normal radio channel is truly secure because you can always turn the dial to another channel, but sound is not on those. Right. So it makes it a lot more fun. You always see the whispering stories going on where you'll see, say, you've retracted the pole down, but you're kind of holding it close and you're whispering into it, and you and the mixer are having a side conversation about stuff. And I always feel like there's dirt or something going on. It's probably more technical and not as interesting, but
sound mixers always have the gossip.
Yeah, they do have.
We do have the tea.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because when I started becoming a boom operator, it was more of the sound mixer can have us on a private line or on our own thing, and he can talk all the dirt to me, but in responding through the boom pole, I can't necessarily speak too much specific dirt back because everybody who's listening on Comtext, which is public, can hear.
Yeah.
So you have to speak in code or just give like a yes. Totally. But now, with the upgrading gear, there are ways that he can put me on a private line. I can talk to the boom. It can be on private, and then we can switch it back to public. So it gives me a little bit more freedom to, respond to the dirt.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm thinking about all the time. I'm like, how are they having this conversation? Producers are listening. I don't know. I don't know how everything works.
Yeah, and it's tough. I've slipped up, and then you get the sound mixers like, you can't say that, dude. You can't say that. Not over the airwaves. Well, why are you telling me this? Then why are we talking about this?
Why is the other way around when the sound mixer forgets to go private?
Oh yeah,
and everybody hears the conversation.
Yeah,
this is rare. I think
it's rare. It's definitely scary though. I know for me, it's like I can only say so much to the boom, but for them, if they did that and it was accidentally, everything was public.
Yikes.
That's scary.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Well, let's go back in time a little bit and talk a little bit about growing up. Did you have any kind of early interests that were sort of pointing you in this direction?
So when I was younger, I was actually more of a sports guy. I loved playing sports, football, basketball, baseball, all of them, because of being 6', or just being one of the taller kids. It was always easier to play that. And then I actually had one of my best friends who I've known since pre-K, Daniel Kleinpeter. Shout out to that guy. He's also...
That's 2 degrees of our world.
He's a good buddy of mine. He was always the guy who was more interested in film. I kind of started having more of a growing interest hanging out with him, watching more films with him as we were growing up. And then we started making our own little web series, like, TV show type, goofy, funny things where we get together, come up with a dumb premise and be like, let's do that. And then we just make a whole episode out of it. So then I started becoming more and more interested in film. Then after I got an injury in sports, I couldn't play competitively anymore. I switched over to the drama club because Daniel was like, you should come over and act and do this. So I did that. And then that was a lot of fun. And then that's what kind of piqued our interest. I think we were like, well, we need to, I want to go to school for this, like film. I really want to be an actor. I think we both did. We both had agents at one point in time. Then that you find out quick that does not work out.
Yeah, that's
it's a lot of rejection.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, you gotta be able to handle a lot of rejection and still somehow believe in your ability. Oh, and also somehow financially support yourself while you're not getting those gigs.
Totally.
Though I am just imagining you and Daniel only auditioning together and getting rejected.
Yeah, because we were always a
your headshots are just the two of you.
You're given pages for one character, but you're both doing the same character.
Right.
In the audition.
We were a package deal.
Yeah, it's a vaudeville act. That's awesome, though. So what got you more specifically going the sound route?
So fast forward, we both end up going to UNO because they decided, well, that's the best film school in the state. And I mean, my parents and his parents were both like, you don't want to go to LSU? We both live like 5 minutes away from the campus. And we're like, no, we're going to go an hour away to UNO because their film program. And when we get there, we kind of later on, I think in our college career, we kind of started doing thesis films at UNO. Which is the grad student program. They would do 3 movies in their 3 years. And they got a lot of undergrads to work on them, which I thought was honestly one of the coolest parts about going to UNO's film school was the opportunity of working on a set. It's like a watered down version of what we do on a bigger scale. So you learn, different departments and different things. And I think I was like, hey, asked a guy, can I be in your thesis film? He said, yeah, sure. You can be a grip. I said, I don't know what that is, but I'll do it. Sounds cool. So yeah, he got me as a grip and I started meeting some other people. And then it kind of just like fell into you're working on one thesis film after the other. Once people see that you like to do this, you don't mind the hours, you kind of just start spinballing. And then I think I was working on someone's project and he said, oh, we don't have a boom operator today. Would you want to be the boom operator? And I was like, sure. He's like, yeah, you're tall, so you'll be great. Said, sure, why not? And then when I put the headphones on and listened, actually being there on set and like putting the microphone over someone and hearing their voice like right up in my ears and kind of watching this play out, I fell in love with it. I was like, this is so cool. This is like kind of what I want to do. And I also really love music, so it just kind of all was like clicking. And so I told the guy, I was like, yeah, I would do this again for any of the films. And he kind of was like, okay. Told some other people, yeah, Donovan wants to start doing sound. And there's this place, a sound rental house called Professional Sound Services at the time, where he was like, you need to come and visit the guys there because you can do an internship and it'll count for school credit. And I was like, well, that's awesome. Let's go. So then I come and I met Justin. That was the first time I ever met Justin. And they were like, yeah, you can start, once you get your school schedule and whatnot, you can start whenever. And that's where I spent a lot of my time at the end of college. Just a lot. I would skip classes to stay and hang out at the shop to just learn the gear and meet people. And yeah, I loved it at that point.
That is you just spoke to something that I think is a generally good message to people that have interest in getting in. That extra level of interest does make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, not just having like the genuine interest, but also people see your interest. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes it, would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. There was, we've had quite a few interns come through, as you know, and you were one of the first group, but we always saw exactly where you were heading.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were going to support that. So that was cool to be a part of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And watch you grow in your career.
Yeah.
And I'll say that I never recommended you for being the tallest guy in town.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was always because your work ethic and yeah.
I've had a friend say that. Like, I think I stepped in for him on a show and somebody was like, yeah, you said to look out for the tall guy. And he was like, well, he's not just tall, but he's also good at his job. He really cares about his job.
Yeah.
Don't just focus on the height.
I guess it's the same logic of going like, he's tall, he must be good at basketball.
Oh yeah. Totally. That was
right.
Still get that question. Do you play football or basketball? I said, no, I'm a boom operator.
Yeah.
You're missing out. Picked the wrong career.
And also you're right. Shout out to UNO. That whole school credit for internship is a deal maker. I mean, it really, I know they got rid of it for a while and I was kind of bummed to hear that, but it might be back again.
I hope so.
Cause, same thing for me. I had to do it for school credit. It was necessary to graduate, back then, but yeah, it's one of the things that makes that program very good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that we're a bunch of graduates that we keep seeming to find out that we're all graduates of the same place. That was not planned. We promise everybody. But we have had a lot of people on that we find out, like even Heather Ray, we were there almost at the same time, never knew it. And yet we were even in very similar areas. And so we just keep discovering more and more UNO grads.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But definitely solid groups of workers coming out of there for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's get into the breaking down of the department, because you did mention the mixer and you did mention yourself, and there's generally someone else.
There is a third person who is the sound utility. They are managing, I guess the biggest thing that they do is wiring the actors. That is huge. I will step in and wire the actors sometimes, or sometimes you may get a newer utility that we're trying to, get into the department, and you kind of start the show wiring the actors as a boom operator, and then, they'll pick up, okay, this is how it's done. This is how it's done on this wardrobe or whatnot. So, but they're a huge part of the department because somebody explained it to me and I like this, which was the production sound mixer is like your pilot. Then you have your boom operator, your co-pilot, and you have your utility is like your navigator.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And it's totally true because the utility is also there to make sure we have everything stocked, cleaning everything, doing so much just to keep our department organized and on the same page. And because while I'm on set, I'm kind of away, I'm kind of doing my own thing. And they're there doing the wiring, making sure the wiring is good. And then also all this other things that help our department run smoothly.
I always feel like a sound utility for me, like outside of the department looking in, for some reason, I'm always going like batteries.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the sound utility always seems to be doing, is something battery involved.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sound of their footsteps. Batteries.
And they also, we mentioned Comtex. We could explain that a little bit, but it's essentially the headsets at the Video Village where everyone's watching the monitors.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, sound utility usually is putting those out, right?
Yeah. They're more in charge of that world. And the mixer will jam with his time code, which we keep cameras and sound recorders and stuff all in the same, and slates all in the same time code just for editorial purposes. And they'll get something from the sound mixer, he'll jam it, and then he'll go to the cameras and he'll jam that too. So if there are ever really, and slates, so if there are really time code issues, they kind of handle making sure that that's all.
What does that mean,
happy.
jamming?
Jamming. It's
Jam.
Well, there's reggae, right?
yeah, jam.
I'm not hip on that either.
Basically, it's like the recorder jams a device. It could be, they have multiple things now, and that is just basically taking a cable, putting the time code into this device, this information. Then the utility will take that and take a cable, and they'll jam it. So jam that time code from that box into the camera. So then the camera accepts the time code that's been generated at the recorder. And then they'll do that same thing with the slates using a different cable to jam the slates.
And that's all for editing purposes generally, right?
Yeah. I think it's like, so editorial can see that everything is on this same like time of day, or, it depends on what we're going to do. I think it's time of day for if we're shooting day work. But then if you go into night work, I think it has to be hours of operation, which is like on a 24-hour, military time.
Sure.
Because you might pass over into midnight. And so when you do that, the slate can go to like just zeros and it'll be weird looking. Whereas if you just do it military time, once you hit midnight, it'll be 24, then 25. So
Gotcha.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I hear that a lot. And I knew and assumed that it was that. But in my head, I'm like, sabotage.
It's essentially for synchronizing the audio with the video recording.
Yeah.
That all makes sense. But that's I guess for anyone like a modern day slate, the little clacker guy that the camera guy is putting in front, and you'll see a bunch of numbers running on it, and then they close it and they turn it upside down as well because I guess editing needs to know they have the frame right.
Yeah, or it's like I know that they'll turn it whenever it's at the end. If they do tail sticks and they don't have enough time to slate at the beginning of the shot.
Yeah,
and at the end of the
tail
shot,
sticks,
tail sticks, and I guess
Oh,
flip
the
it to
turn
show.
means it's the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Then it's the end of the shot.
This is the great thing about props because we only need a cursory knowledge of these things.
Yeah. Like, look at them go.
We're like, oh, look, hey, if we were shooting them, that would be a prop.
Yeah, I get
Anyway, moving on.
I just thought it was like, the Dairy Queen Blizzard. Put it upside down.
Yes. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but since we're on the miking up, I had, when I was putting this together, I had a memory of I did a show that Sam Jackson was on, and I remember he had a whole thing where he didn't like to be mic'd up.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted, if you and Justin could both speak to a little bit about some actors have preferences, advantages and disadvantages to boom versus being mic'd up a little bit.
Yeah. I would say sometimes if they don't want to be mic'd up, usually it's that they're being difficult. They're just being difficult. I mean,
he was a very lovely man to everyone that wasn't the sound department.
Right. It's something about people getting in your personal space, and I've had battles with actors about like, they'll try to make up every excuse. Oh, I'm not saying anything, or oh, I'm not. But they really do end up saying something, even if it's ad lib. They end up saying something. So it's always a lie if they tell you I'm never going to say anything. And they're actors.
Sometimes they're just trying to get in and out.
Yeah.
Escape from set as soon as they're done with their scene, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes y'all are chasing them down like we are. Because sometimes they're so quick to leave set, they haven't even gotten whether it's their wire or a prop that's on them or something. They're just totally. The best is when it's like a rubber gun for us, and then it's like, yes, I understand it's a fake gun. You're still going out theoretically into the world with what looks like a real gun in your pocket. Can we please take that from you? I'm going to say it's more TV actors. But yeah, so going into now a little bit more about you specifically as a boom operator, how do you learn to boom? Like as far as the getting the best, positions, getting the best, is it just learning on the fly?
Yeah, at first it was kind of just like experience, you learn, sometimes it's trial by fire, you can't get the boom in the frame. That's always a clear thing, but causing shadows. Yeah, it's difficult. And I would say when I first started, your arms would get real shaky and real tired.
That's another question I have. It's about how your arms don't turn into noodles.
Oh my goodness. When I remember on the first thesis film I boomed, arms were shaking. and you're just like hearing a little bit of rattle, and you're like, I can't control this right now. And you get used to it after a while. You got muscles, I guess, that develop there that make it easier to, and you learn different techniques too. Always rest. You go from up top, then bring it down when you have a moment of rest, or if they're going to reset or whatever. Always find time to bring the boom down and give yourself some sort of rest, because you don't need to hold it in the up position for the longest time. Or if someone's seated and you can manage to not have to hold it all the way up above your head, and you can hold it, more at chest level or something. That's always the preferred option.
That feels like the new exercise craze waiting to happen is going to be like a boom Pilates.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding a pole.
Sure, instead of like workout like a stuntman workout.
Yeah, if you want to get your blood flow to defy gravity more, come do boom Pilates.
The coach matters too, though, right?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of getting coached through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, right. Because the mixer has a little screen that they can see what camera's seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
But they can also hear a little bit more accurately what it's capturing than what the actual boom operator hears, because it gets sent to him and then relayed back, and all kind of wireless stuff.
And so that's also, so the mixer would be the one going a little higher, you're clear, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like they can help you. I mean, once you start, you always want to get your position. You want to be opposite. If they put lights near the camera, you always kind of want to be on the opposite side of the light. You never want to have the boom cross the light or be standing in front of a light, because one, it's going to make shadows, and two, the gaffer, he's going to be mad at you because he thinks that you're blocking some sort of light from hitting the actor. So that's step one. And then you have to look and see if there's any shadows on the wall. And you have to get your frame line, which you can either do with the sound mixer or with the camera operator, and say, hey, look, you start with the boom in the frame, and then you go up until they tell you that you're out. And then I like to always try to find, if I can, like a marker or something with, like, I'll close one eye and then look and see if there's like a speck on the wall or somewhere, like a picture frame that you can't go, the mic can't go below this part of the picture frame, or something that just gives me just that I know. And, that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's smart.
So we want to tell you about Teaser Fest, burlesque excellence. Immerse yourself in a world of allure at Teaser Fest, a burlesque extravaganza in the heart of New Orleans from January 18th to 21st.
7 showcases, guys. Countless thrills, from the timeless queen of the striptease at the Orpheum Theater with live jazz to the avant-garde Vera Tease featuring acrobatics in the same iconic venue.
Sorry, I chuckled because I think it's supposed to say varieties.
I think, yeah.
That's what I was to say.
Yeah, so we should probably do
Wait,
that
what?
one.
Oh,
Yeah. What did I say?
What did you say? What did you
Varieties.
I would have cinema verities.
I'm sorry, it's like the kid in class you're reading out loud.
No, but I mean, that's
laughing at you.
no. I feel like we should shame people more. I feel like it gets people on their toes.
I see you into the
Varieties.
Derek
Varietos.
Zoolander school for
Yeah,
kids who can't read good.
varieties. Yeah, varieties.
Verities. Let me do 7 showcases. Countless thrills. From the timeless queen of the striptease at the Orpheum Theater with live jazz to the avant-garde Verities featuring acrobatics in the same iconic venue.
Varieties.
Varieties.
Somebody else do it.
Hey, man, you want to take a sip of this?
7 showcases, countless thrills, from the timeless queen of the striptease at the Orpheum Theater with live jazz to the avant-garde.
You're not going to be able to get through it.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to what was that? 7 showcases.
Bob Marley.
That wasn't me.
All right,
That wasn't me.
7 showcases, countless thrills, from the timeless queen of the striptease at the Orpheum Theater with live jazz to the avant-garde Varieties featuring acrobatics in the same iconic venue.
It's at the Orpheum Theater, gang. Witness burlesque magnificence in this historic gem, a perfect backdrop for the extravagance
of Teaser Fest.
After Dark Adventures explore edgy, one-of-a-kind acts that redefined late-night entertainment.
Teaser Fest celebrates New Orleans culture with live music, crafted cocktails, and intimate performances.
A festival like never before. Elevate your senses at Teaser Fest, promising enchantment, amazement, and a celebration of burlesque in all its forms.
So get your tickets now. Visit teaserfest.com and secure your place at the hottest burlesque event of the year.
I saw The Sixth Sense in the theater, and the infamous stuttering Stanley scene. The boom mic was in the shot, but then when the movie came out on video, it wasn't there. And I guess it was something about the way it's cropping for like home release versus what was in cinema. That's kind of a guess, but I remember that's maybe the only movie I ever saw that it was blatant. Well, Kentucky Fried Movie, Justin and I were talking about it last week. That's a whole other conversation, but not intended to be in the shot. That's the most glaring one, but I've never been able to know the real answer. So I'm kind of asking a question, like, because that's just speculation about how the framing is, maybe, or
I don't know.
How did they get it out?
well, why would it have been in the shot and the theatrical, like in the theater, but then in the home? You know, and there's no way they.
Well, they might not have. I guess it sounds like maybe they didn't realize until after theatrical release.
That's a pretty big thing to miss.
And then, because you can, I mean, I would assume by that time you could probably paint it out.
Yeah,
right?
digitally edit it out at that point. But
Yeah, it was.
that's crazy.
That's definitely doable now. You can paint that sort of thing out,
Right?
If it's in there for just a few frames or something like that.
And well, now it's because it's so long ago, it's going to turn into like a Mandela effect for me.
Has it been discussed, or are you the only person that's seen this?
I should go. No. Other people in the theater definitely saw it at the time,
Okay.
but I don't know if it's like all of us saw that one UFO, and you know, but I'll look it up. I'll go check it out. But now, if because we're kind of touching on camera a little bit, and we like to jokingly rag on camera because we love them, but they can be annoying. And I'm only saying that to segue us into, if you could change or improve something that you could within the sound department world, that would be like an industry-wide, maybe like a general improvement, a general change, maybe something as simple as more clout for the mixer. You know?
maybe.
Anything you want.
Yeah, yeah. Lighter poles.
Yeah, maybe some sort of mechanism that will take some of the weight off my shoulders. Like, I don't know.
Bionicle arms.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, a lot of times, I mean, what I come to at least is, just extra people, but you do get that sometimes for certain shows.
Yeah.
You can get a second boom operator in addition, and so it's a 4-man team instead of a 3-man team.
Right.
What's kind of your cutoff line for like number of speaking actors before you start saying I need more people? Like if you not talking about from a budgetary standpoint, just from a manpower standpoint, like if budget didn't matter as much. I
wouldn't necessarily say it's a speaking actor count,
right?
Rather than what else is going on,
right? Because if it's I know for a fact that we'll get them on like big music shows. Like I've worked on a team with 4 people, maybe even 5 people, depending on if we have big concerts to do playback for and things like that. That get
makes
more
sense.
People
live event.
Yeah, or I don't know. I think even on Leverage last season, we were trying to maybe get a 4th person because of just the nature of the show. Now that is because there's a big ensemble cast, and then it's TV, so it's a lot more run and gun. So having to, okay, we're going to move over to this thing, and like we got to get all the wires off these cast members, but we also still have to move all of our stuff over to this new spot. To then they start rehearsing, and you need a representative from your department. That's usually one of my jobs too, as a boom operator, is watching the rehearsals and being there and relaying any information to, if we go up further and move, then I have to move with them real fast and at least go watch the rehearsal, see what's going on, and then come back and help out if things still need to be moved over. So yeah, that kind of gets tough when it's just 3 people, and I might have to take wires off actors too. And, well, just it becomes a lot.
Yeah. You just made me think of another good thing to ask about. Sometimes when we can have shots where maybe, let's say the operator's on Steadicam, and behind the operator, because they have this rig on their body, is usually dolly grip, and they're kind of helping balance and keep them from tripping into things. And usually you are right in there with them on this crazy moving shot where y'all are physically trying to move as one entity, even though you're multiple people. So it's kind of cool to see the synchronicity of it when it goes well. But it does, maybe the sports background helps a little.
I think so. I think the coordination.
It's a little, what was the football, the hip twisting thing you had to do? I forgot what you called it.
I think that might be, some of it is the coordination just with sports and playing sports, but yes, it is. It's a dance, and that's part of the biggest thing is, I don't know, boom operators, I would say you have to rehearse. You have to rehearse the camera moves. You have to be there. It's tough because if you don't do that, or you're away from the set for any reason and you're not there watching everything, things change so much. Lights get moved. You had a spot, then you walk away, and then your spot gets taken by a light. And so they come back right before they roll, and you're like, well, now everything is out of whack. So I kind of just hang out as much as I can on set, and you have to rehearse the camera moves, especially Steadicam stuff, because you can't just be coming in last minute and just be like, okay, I'm a part of this dance now too. And it's like, no, you never rehearsed any of this. You might be walking backwards, walking, around this way, that way, or in the Iron Claw, like being in the ring. That was all handheld. And I did the first rehearsal. I just watched where the camera operator was going to be moving. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try to jump in. He was like, you're going to try to be in here? I was like, I think so. I think I can do the moves. And they're reluctant to it. And you have one shot, one opportunity to say, I can be there with you. Because if you mess up, they're going to be like, find somewhere else to be.
It's your Eminem one shot.
And then I did it and did the move, and then was able to, because it all was pretty much the same after you get it once. It's all pretty much the same dance at that point. You just got to know where you're going to be. At this point in the action, they're going to be over here, and you're kind of just following tight, following close. But yeah, rehearsals. You got to be on top of that. That's kind of again going into the tricky dance of it, and then to reiterate, you don't have someone like a dolly grip that has your back. So if you're backpedaling, all the more reason you need that rehearsal, because you have a long awkward item that you're toting with you. Right. Not knocking the Steadicam. I mean, clearly there's a lot of camera people with back issues because of it, but it is a lot more tight and controlled versus this extending appendage that you have. Right. And then kind of sort of winding us down a little bit. If you were to kind of point out, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but the kind of things that are your favorite things on the job, like when you feel really good about something, like it could be anything, just a shot going well, or just something that gives you kind of personal satisfaction. Yeah, I think it's so after you set up a shot, like if it's a wide shot, or if you plant all these microphones, that's one of my favorite things to do as a boom operator, is hiding microphones and planting microphones. Because really what the whole goal of that is that, and this is from working with a great production sound mixer, Paul Ledford. He taught me that it's like a lot of what you see, obviously the audience sees, we're trying to convey what they hear naturally. So, you're planting microphones to have, if there's cars passing by in the background, you have car bys, which a microphone to capture some of that, a microphone to capture up close, near, I'm capturing this person on the boom, this person's being played on their lavalier microphones. It's like this whole mix of all these different microphones to then make this shot, the way that it looks, sound the best way, sound like it should look, basically. So it's, and then when that actually does happen and it sounds really nice and really clean and very natural, that's awesome. That's like a great satisfaction. And that can be hard to achieve, because also, finding spots to plant microphones can be difficult. Having the time to plant them, you're rushing. all this stuff, but you have to be quick and think quick on your feet to try to accomplish, especially what this sound mixer wants for his sound and how he wants it done all the time. So
Like
it
a
can be
symphony.
difficult. Yeah, really it is. But yeah, whenever it's like you hear the sound mixer say, that sounded great, then you're like, okay, great. That feels good. That feels good.
Again, when you see him planting mics, I keep going back to Kentucky Fried Movie. Have you seen it, Zoe?
No.
Silly question. Silly question. I saw it in high school for the first time, but for anyone, including Zoe, that doesn't know, the long short is that the Zucker brothers and Abrams that did like Airplane, Naked Gun, and those movies, this is the very first movie they did. And it's really just a bunch of sketches, but there are more sound jokes crammed into that movie than anything else I could possibly name. There's one scene where the boom mic is a character in the shot. And there's an entire thing that rips off, what is it, Enter the Dragon, but they call it a fistful of yin. And there are several sound jokes in there because they're being monitored, basically.
You haven't seen it either?
I have not. I want to now.
Yeah, I think you'll take extra pleasure in the fact that they were so conscientious of sound jokes, but it is a wild movie.
I'm about to post some screenshots.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Episode. Yeah.
But yeah, I keep trying to avoid it, and then you say certain things that just keep triggering me back to it. So I'm like, I might as well just say it.
You dig it the most, man.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But I like slapstick. I mean, like before I die, I will work on a slapstick movie so I can do props on slapstick, because that is the ultimate prop movie for me.
Yeah.
Is let's get weird.
You're gonna be like 92. I need a slapstick movie.
Yeah. Well, and those guys were so good they killed their own genre. It's like they did it too well. But anyways, so before we get out of here, we want to thank you again, Donovan.
Thank you for having me again.
Also, you have a very good radio voice for being, behind cameras. And
I appreciate that. I do not like to hear my own voice, but I have to hear it all the time when I'm on set. But I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're getting used to our own. This is new ground for us.
I love my own voice now.
The first time we put on the headphones, we were like, everyone except Justin, who's used to it, but the other four of us were all going, ew,
Clearing our throats.
It's definitely a game changer. But before we get out of here, wanted to give you a chance to kind of give you the floor. We also have we like to joke, we have a soapbox you can stand on if you so choose. If there's any advice that you'd like to impart, it's a very open, nebulous thing. It can be good news, bad, good advice, bad advice. It's kind of up to you, just something that you feel that you've learned that's significant that you'd like to share.
Okay. That's a good question. Let me think. I would say, I don't know. I feel like I've heard a lot of people kind of who work in the industry and maybe jaded be like, oh, don't find something else to do. But really, I love this job. Couldn't see myself doing anything else. So it is tough, and there isn't as much glamour and glitz as it might seem with Hollywood, but it's a lot of fun. If you can deal with the hours and you can, if you really, really love your craft, it's the best thing ever. And I know that we've dealt with a difficult time this last year.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people leave, and, I understand they have their own things and they were probably already thinking about it, but I didn't. I wanted to stick around because I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And I also have met a lot of great people in this industry, and it's very cool to see and get to meet all the different walks of life. And, I think that that's also one of the greatest things about this business too, is just the many people that you get to meet. Some have bad egos, and that can be kind of rough. But some are probably just going to be lifelong friends and are, very close. And so that's always a plus too. But I don't know, advice wise, I don't really have anything super great. I'm going to edit that part
I think
out.
that was it, man.
Yeah, I think that was pretty
Don't
good.
be jaded.
Yeah,
I somehow
Don't be
knew that
jaded.
was going to be your answer. You're like the least jaded person I know.
Yeah. It's like you do it for a long time.
It is definitely easy to get in that mode, and we even joke, like, prop people specifically are kind of surly people by stereotype, and it is hard because, like you said, the hours and the egos, I would say, are the two things that can drain you the most.
Yeah.
And what I've reminded myself over the years, and what I tell a lot of people, is that the worst thing we ever can work on is still temporary. And that's how I cope with a rough show versus a good show. Because if you're on a really good show, you don't want it to end. And then you're sad when it does end.
Right.
You know, you're like, I just was in like a Club Med kind of situation. And now suddenly I'm off to the next thing, and who knows what that's like. But that spontaneity is also, I think, something that attracts a lot of us too. That, you know, we're not, and nothing against, you know, I was about to say a factory assembly line, noble professions, but, you know, that redundancy might not work for everybody.
Right.
And that's something that I think we're very fortunate for, if it's your thing, because we have a lot of on-the-job problem solving. And yeah, no, I think that was perfect advice. And let's see, Justin, anything I missed that you want to add to? Because I feel like
So, and
I was going to say
there's a lot.
Wait, Justin has several
Donovan
pages
and I
of
need
notes.
to talk for 2 more hours. No,
That's what you've been scribbling over there.
yeah. I just circling back to the beginning of the conversation, I didn't know that you and Daniel originally wanted to be actors.
I didn't know y'all were good friends.
And y'all had agents and everything. That's crazy, but also it makes perfect sense now that I think about it. And so I'll have to link to this on our website for the viewers if you're okay with it. And I'll also have to find it on YouTube somewhere. But if you remember what I'm getting at, you and Lucas and I made
Oh my goodness, yes I do.
a film that's on YouTube that we can probably find. It's a recreation of the printer smashing scene.
Office
Space.
I remember that
yeah.
when I was an intern at Pro Sound. That was a thing that printer was giving us fits, and then we were like, well, let's break it, but let's do it in style.
Let's do it right.
Take it to pasture.
Yeah, we did a pretty good recreation of it. So we'll link to it in the website.
That's great. No, I'm excited for that too. I know. That's another thing I'm learning is a lot of people have videos kind of like what you just talked about, Justin, and what you were talking about earlier, Donovan, that's floating out there in the internet ether that we need to start like corralling back in. There's a show, Premonition, that was filmed up in Shreveport post Katrina, and I just learned about a video called Little Premonition, and even the actors were in on it, and it was the crew clearly having fun and doing a whole side thing. And we don't get that a lot anymore as much. Like, no one's having as much fun, it feels like they used to.
Yeah.
A lot more pranking and joking used to go on. And I think we need to make an effort to get back to that, because we work in entertainment.
Totally. I agree with that.
By definition of the word. But yeah, I'm excited to see that now.
Yeah.
All right. Did I miss anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's all I got.
So, Donovan, want to thank you so much again for coming in. And we'll see you on set.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Donovan.
Thanks, Donovan.
Cause I'm being followed by a boom shadow, boom shadow, boom shadow. Because I can't help it. I had to do it once. That is a tired joke in the industry.
They love it. No, every
boom
sound
operators
person, and
love that joke.
it's their favorite, and it never gets old, and they laugh.
It's also an
every time.
incredibly famous, maybe stretching it, but it's a very common film meme that we have seen many times over the years, and we will definitely have it on the website.
What about boom, boom, pow? No one's throwing that one around to them.
Today it changes.
You're referring to the Batman.
No,
the Black
what?
Eyed Peas.
I got that boom, boom, pow. Them chickens just my style. Come on. Oh, God.
Thank you though for stopping short, so we're
was like,
staying
well,
free
that's a cool
of
one.
paying for rights for these things.
Yeah, I'm not totally dumb.
I can count more than an AD. I tell you that much.
I think I just tune out any song that has boom in it.
Yeah, that could be.
That's probably what it
Your brain is trained to take them out.
Yeah, you just hear pow.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Pow. Yeah. Okay. Like the Batman comic Pow. I got you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we all have, I think each of us have jokes that, well, that's probably a good thing. We should probably kind of slowly trickle into the website is kind of putting on those tired jokes over and over again, because every department has those kind of stereotype jokes inside of our industry that people are saying all the time. I mean, I guess a side example that would be for Zoe and I would be, we're making fake drinks, and it's only a matter of time before some random crew member or background extra goes, well, I'd actually like a martini, shaken, not stirred, or they'll give some kind of drink order, and you're like, that's a new one.
You didn't make any for me?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
That's a story for another day. But anyway, so Donovan, and he was great. Boom operator, one of the most iconic, positions. Definitely noble profession.
Angel from above.
Mm-hmm.
Literally above, because they hold the boom up above everybody.
We had talked about it a little bit before.
Always. You know what, Donovan, get back in here.
We had talked about it off mic earlier, but the Star Wars guy is also a very famous photo. And you had brought that up when we were talking earlier this week. We should definitely have that picture on there, because that is a hilarious behind the scenes, because it's dated in time with what the guy's wearing while on it's Tatooine, isn't it? Isn't it the desert?
Yeah, it's a
scenes?
desert
scene
with the sand cruiser, whatever it is.
Nerd alerts.
Yeah. Zoe hasn't seen Star Wars yet because she decided years ago she's going to catch up in chronological order. So she's only made it to 1942 in movies. So she's still got a long way to go.
Yeah. So there you go. I know my Black Eyed Peas songs.
But I do know my Black Eyed Peas. Thank you very much. I guess anything else? I mean, I think we kind of tapped on anything that we might have missed. We already covered. Any closing sound thoughts for anyone? I mean, other than we obviously value you.
Well, I think I asked him not on the podcast if he hit anyone. So I'm always curious about that. I always want to see a boom operator hit someone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely.
Oh, it happens way more than you know.
I never see it. And I'm looking. I'm watching it. And they don't do it.
I would
Good
like
for them.
it if just once a boom operator was just barely trying to touch the top of like a DP's head or something like that. But then like if they could kind of quickly swing the pull away if they finally look up kind of thing, just taunt them from a distance. And then they'd probably get fired. But it'd be funny for that moment.
Sometimes the fun one is if you have either small children, babies, or animals, and you're booming near them.
Oh.
Swat at it. Trying to grab it.
I didn't even
That's
think
happened?
about that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
A little
Old
Dennis the Menace
stories.
with a slingshot.
Yeah.
I've had cats trying to swat at it, and then babies just always try to grab it.
Yeah. Babies. What are you going to do?
So
Smack them in the head.
I've never thought about that.
Soft.
A lot of times when babies are on sets and scenes, they're always looking at something specific because it's so hard to get a baby to make the That's why if you're really paying attention, a lot of times the edit cut will be like a special on the baby where it's like really featuring the baby as if it's a POV. And that's because they're probably struggling to get the baby to like, hey, come on, kid, over here, but I bet they are looking at that boom mic the whole time. I've never actually thought about that.
Yeah, of course they are. They put the things in their baskets, right? What are those things? You know what I'm talking about? In baby cribs. In a baby crib, classic baby crib, sitting there, and there's dangly bits.
Oh,
That's
mobile?
There you go.
Gotcha.
Those.
Wait, when you said basket, were you talking about the crib itself?
Yeah, I don't know.
They
Yeah.
go in baskets, right?
Huh. Well, I mean, that's how I got my kids.
Their cage.
They came down river, and I just was like, "Oh, perfect timing! I happen to need some kids, and here they are."
Yeah.
Well, I'm not asking any questions about where they came from. They're now my own.
Yeah. So those baskets.
Those baskets.
Are the ones that I speak of.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we should get out of here. So, Zoe, will you tell the people?
Here comes the boom. Yes.
Let's go on.
1, 2, better not suit. We want to hear from you, the audience. Do you have a behind the scenes story? Maybe you work in the industry, or maybe you had a run-in with reduction. You know, you live in New Orleans, New York, whatever, and some PA stopped you on the way to work and it was annoying. We want to hear about it. We want to hear about all of it. We love all the stories. Write us and maybe we'll read it on the show. Or maybe you just want to tell us that you love us or you really hate us and you want to fact check us because we're wrong about a lot of things. You can troll us, whatever you want to do. You might even want to guess where Joe or Chris are on any given day of the week. You can do that by emailing us at filmfolklorepodcast@gmail.com. It's filmfolklorepodcast@gmail.com. We do indeed want to hear from you. You can also find us on the social media. Instagram is Film Folklore Podcast. Facebook group is Film Folklore. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, @The Film Folk. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us. We really want to hear from you. It's very important to us. Again, we work in the entertainment business, so we need a lot of validation. We're very pathetic, sad people, and we really want to be reviewed. We want to know your honest opinion. It means a lot to us because you guys mean a lot to us. And for any of you that really like us and have some change burning holes in your pockets and have, just any money at all, like a credit card, we set up a donation with PayPal and Patreon. Links are in the show notes of this episode and our website. Money helps us do more fun things, and we want to entertain you. Money helps you do more fun things, which helps us do more fun things, which is also helping you have fun. And it would be really nice. And we love you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. And that's a wrap, I guess.
Boom, boom, pow.
Mm-hmm. The comic.
I didn't hear you say black.